بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين ما صلى على محمد. Dear sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are all keeping well and benefiting from the holy days and nights of the month of Ramadan. We have started a discussion during the past couple of nights. In the first night, we spoke about the idea that religion came to help us rise. In the second night, we spoke about the idea that religion came to give us freedom. And today, inshallah, we'll speak about the idea that religion came to help us experience the world in a different way. Tonight's lecture, I think, would be the most beneficial for you in your life, to understand your life, to understand how you relate to the people in your life, to God, how you understand yourself. So I really ask you humbly to pay attention. If you agree, then recite the salawat. Before I start talking about how religion can help us in experiencing the world, ourselves, and our relationships in a better way, I want to mention a few things about our community. One is, I really hope we understand this. If we want to move forward with our community, if we want to make our community better, work better for us, for our children, help us with our faith, strengthen our relationship with God, we really need to appreciate the people who came before us and have, throughout centuries, throughout history, carried this knowledge, carried this tradition, and given it to us. Going forward, improving is impossible without showing appreciation for those who came before us. Even sitting in this center, having an organization lovely like Shabab Al-Sibtayn, there have been so many people who have put efforts for this to happen. And this has been going on for so long. Scholars who've sacrificed their life so that this line of knowledge comes to us. And even if at some points we realize that we want to make some changes or we want to grow, that effort has to be rooted in our appreciation for those who came before us. And I want to tell you tonight how difficult it is to keep a tradition alive. You know, many of us may look at some great scholars we have and be like, why are they not doing more? Why are they not understanding us more? I wish they would do this. I wish that's what they would. Why haven't they written a book about this? And all of these points are valid, but we have to know the scholars we have, how much they sacrificed to give to us even what we have today. Imagine when, as an adult, your children come to you to get advice, to look up to you, how much pressure that is when a few people look up to you and you have to, as an adult, make sure everything is taken care of. You're their strength, you're the backbone of the family. And now imagine doing that for millions of people around the world. Imagine being the person that millions of adults look up to you for advice, for wisdom, for guidance, it's a task that can really break the back of a person. And these scholars we have, it's not like they have easy lives. We don't know what they go through. They all have children they have to take care of. They all have wives that they have to take care of, husbands they have to take care of, grandparents, parents they have to take care of. They all have to pay rent. And imagine how much effort and sacrifice it has to go through becoming a person that millions of adults can look up to. It's not easy. Try giving advice to 10 people and actually helping them. Try giving advice to 10 smart people. It's impossible. To get yourself to a position where you can actually be beneficial for a community that they can rely on you, it's such a difficult, back-breaking, sacrifice-requiring job. And the people who came before us did their best. Despite all their shortcomings, they did their best. And now it's up to us. And by the way, don't think that they are not aware of their shortcomings. Don't think that they are happy with everything. No, they've tried their best. At the end of the day, you're a human being. There's so many things I know which are wrong about myself, so many shortcomings I know I have. But do I have the time to read everything? If I had time, if life was easier, obviously my knowledge could have been better. But this is life. We're human beings. We're limited. We can't expect everything. I wish it was better. I wish they'd given us more. But they have put so much to give us what we have. All our scholars, the ones who really carried the tradition, the ones who are our pride, the ones who are the identity of this tradition, they've all had such difficult lives. Do you know how many things you need to sacrifice to be able to get yourself to a position where you're beneficial for people, where you can answer their questions? So let's come together and recite the salawat for everyone who ever did anything for this community. Please recite the salawat. Now I want to talk to us. They, throughout centuries, through so much sacrifice, they took it forward. They brought it to us. They've given it to us. We know some of our scholars didn't have money to buy books, but they wanted to preserve our books, so they would fast for other people whose parents had passed away. Days on, they would fast to get a little bit money to buy books to keep this tradition alive. Hope now it's our time. Our challenges are also not that easy. So we really need to come together. The energy they brought forward, it's slowly dying. It's up to us to reignite this flame. And we all need to come together. Whatever you have to contribute, you have to bring it forth. I remember we'd gone to see one of the Maraji who, I know many people are saying, why is he not doing more? Why is he not understanding us? Why is he not doing anything about this? Why is he not doing anything about that? And in that meeting, he said, I'm one person. I'm trying my best. Come on, help me. So now, it's our task. Whatever you can contribute, bring it forward. If you're in tech world, if you're a lawyer, if you're a journalist, if you're a mental health professional, if you're a scholar, if you're a business person, whatever you have, bring it forth. You have time, give your time to the community. Whatever you have is appreciated, even if it's just time. We can make this community so beautiful, and it's our historic duty to our children. We have so many challenges that are new to our time. We don't have the answers for them, all of them. We need to together come and figure it out. So if you think you've got something to contribute, whatever it is, even maybe being there for another person, giving your advice to a younger person, we need you. And if you think that you're in a position where your life is going well, alhamdulillah, good salary, house is taken care of, car is taken care of, what else do you want? The needs of your body are met. How many more cars do you want to buy? Bring what you have to the community. Help. If you see there are younger people in your family, in your community who don't have jobs, help them, mentor them. Every older person in the community, help a younger person. Show them the ways of the world. Bring your resources. Let's build this community together. Your life would be so much more meaningful. How much money can we accumulate? Why don't you want to leave your mark on history? So I ask all of you, let's come together. Whatever you have, let's bring it for the community. It will give so much meaning to your life. It will give your life, your children, a better future. And it would be such a beautiful thing to do. Why don't you want to leave your mark in history? No matter what you have, even if all you have is time, even that is precious. And the scholars of the community, I want to ask you, let's come together, guys. We need each other. We can't find the answers alone. We can't do research alone. Come, let's help each other. Why should one scholar write their lectures on their own? Come. Maybe you know something that you can help me with. Let's do this together. This is a time that we need to practice unity. We need to come together, help together. There are so many things you can teach us. You have so much experience that we need. Please recite the salawat. We appreciated the people who came before us. And I invited every single one of you right now that has something to contribute to come forward. And now I want to give message to the next generation, the ones who are teenagers now or children. We've got your back. The world could be a scary place, but don't worry. There are so many people who care about you. Bless your soul. How many parents I know who have been spending from their own time to spend time with younger people, with our teenagers, with our children, to be with them, to show them the ways of the world, to pass their experiences. Even here we have programs for children. So many places I go, I see a parent, two parents started programs for children, and then their old children grew up, but they're still continuing for no other reason other than just taking care of the future generation. We've got your back. Don't worry. We'll make the world a lovely place for you. But help us understand you. Come to us. Tell us the way you see the world. Tell us what are your needs. Tell us what's wrong with us. Tell us how we can serve you better. But we've got your back, don't you worry. Please recite the salawat. Tonight's topic. We said religion gave us freedom. Religion came us to help us rise, transcend our smaller needs so that we can fulfill all of our needs. Tonight I want to tell you, religion has come also to help us experience the world in a much more beautiful way. See, my beautiful soul, there are two ways of being in the world. There are two ways of attending a relationship. There are two ways of being in a relationship, of understanding yourself, of relating to the world. In one way, you are goal-oriented. You want to understand things very quickly. You want to achieve something and you focus on that. In the other way of being in the world, you don't have any goal other than to just understand the whole of something. to experience it. Let me give you an example so this becomes clear. And by the way, we have experienced both of these two modes of being in the world. Sometimes we experience it this way, sometimes we experience it this way. Let me give you an example so it becomes clear. Imagine in your friendship, if you look at your friend as an object that can satisfy some of your needs. For example, I want to have fun, I'm bored, I'm going to go to this person. Your friend becomes what? A utility. You have a goal, I want to have fun, you go to your friend. And if you're not bored, if, for example, you don't need fun, you don't remember them. That friend is a source of satisfying, for example, a need. You have a goal to have fun, you go towards them. Sometimes you have friends who are like that, they only call you when they need you. And there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. This is one way of being in the world. But I'm sure you've also experienced another type of friendship in which you don't even care what happens. You just like this person. You want to be next to them. Maybe you even go to be there for them. There's nothing you gain out of it. You want to be there. So in one way of being in the world, you just want to gain something. You're goal-oriented. You see things as a utility. In another way of being in the world, it's not about what you achieve out of it. No, it's about being there, experiencing it. In this way of being in the world, when you're goal-oriented, you reduce people to a set of features because you're focused on achieving something. So, for example, this is the person whose dad has a lot of money, so being with them is fun. Oh, this is the person who's like that. A person is reduced to the set of features. But in another way of relating to people, you see them as a whole being. You can't really explain who they are because no words can do justice to a human being. They are so rich. There's so much about them. You can't really define a human being in words. But a lot of the time we do that. When we attend the world in this way, we can reduce a person to one line. Oh, by the way, do you know that actor? Oh, yeah, he's the one who slapped someone. We reduce a whole person to one line. That's one way of knowing someone. That's one way of attending to the world. You want to quickly understand something quickly, that's all you care about. Yeah, that's the person who did this. Although you don't care about this person is a father to someone, this person is a husband to someone, this person has done so many things, has so many dreams. No, you quickly limit them to something. Even in relationships, this could be the case. In friendships, in everything. So there are two ways of understanding, of experiencing the world. And based on the type of attention you bring, you find different things in the world. If I look at the world with this point of view, in which I just want to manipulate things, I turn people into objects. I turn people into machines of satisfaction of my goals. I turn the world into that as well. World becomes what? World becomes a heap of stuff that I can control, I can exploit. Everything turns into an object. A whole being, a whole human being turns into one of their body parts. If I am goal-oriented, if I want to gain something out of a person, I reduce them to what I need from them. I kill their soul. I cut them. Imagine, if I look at a human being and I'm attending them through this goal-oriented way and I want something, I cut that person into her parts, into his parts. I don't see them for the whole person that they are. I just see what I want to get out of them. Oh, this is this person. And it reduces to what I want from them. But there's another way of relating to people. In this way, you don't expect anything from them. You just want to relate to them. You just want to understand them. You see them as a whole. Even in relationships, you must have experienced a lot of partners who live with each other for a few years. If they don't take care of the relationship, they see how from this one, they move slowly to the other one. Initially, when they're in love, because love is one of the things that helps us not be goal-oriented. Love helps us see the whole of a person. Love helps us want to be with a person, not to get anything out of them, but to relate to them, to understand them. We see the whole of a person. We don't see a nose, we don't see a body, we don't see legs. No, we see a whole person. And you see in the beginning of relationships when the two partners are in love, that's all it is. They don't ask that much from each other. They're willing to serve. They want to understand. They love everything about the other person. Because when he looks at her, when she looks at him, they don't see a set of body parts. They don't see a set of features. No, they see the person they love, the person they're in relationship with. But slowly, if that love goes, the mode of attending to the partner changes. Instead of relating to them, instead of trying to experience them, understand them, be in a relationship with them, we turn them into an object that would satisfy our needs. This is my wife who takes care of the children, so I'll have time to work. This is my husband who has to do that. From a whole person, they are reduced to what they do to us. We no longer experience them in the present moment. We only see the information we have from them. That's why slowly, you look at the person that you used to find so beautiful and you're not excited anymore because you're not seeing them anymore. The mode of attention has changed and what you find is different. Before you were living in the moment. You were present with them. Every moment you two were in a relationship. You were getting new, fresh encounter, new, fresh experience from the person. And obviously every single person is beautiful and attractive. But as soon as this mode of attraction goes away, you don't see them anymore. You turn them into an object, and when you do that, you cut a person. You can no longer see the whole of a person. You only see what you have, the map you have from them. Instead of encountering them fresh, you just see the representation you have inside. And so when you look at them, obviously you get bored. You're not attracted anymore. Because you've cut the person. You're no longer in a real relationship with them. They've turned into an object. You've killed them. You've disconnected them. Now, we can do this to anything, even to the world, which is what we have done. We have turned the world into an object, a soulless object. In order to understand it, in order to use it, we have cut it into parts. The same thing we did to our partners, the same thing sometimes we do to our relationships, we're doing to the world. You know, if, for example, one day comes, by the way, I'm not judging any of us. The reason we're talking about this is to find a way out, okay? No judgment, wallah. No judgment. Don't feel bad. We're talking about it to get out of it. But if one day a person, you look at your partner and you feel like there's a certain part of their body that you're not happy with, that's a sign for you that your relationship, from the relationship between two souls who want to understand each other, has turned into a relationship between you and an object. If you can see a body part, it means you are no longer seeing a whole person. So if you feel like there's an issue there, nothing is wrong with your partner. There's something wrong in the way you're attending to them. Because a whole person, you cannot cut them down. I don't have a nose. I don't have legs. No, this is part of a whole. How can you see that? As soon as you turn person and you cut them down, be sure that your mode of relating to them has changed. Because when you're in love, when you're attending to experience, when you're attending to understand, you see the whole of something. Let me give you another example. This was about people. We can bring the same kind of attention to art as well. Imagine you see a beautiful picture on your laptop. You can either experience the whole picture, the whole scene, the whole painting, or you can break it into parts. Break it into the pixels that made it. As soon as you see the pixels, it means you're no longer encountering the painting. Even, for example, this beautiful painting we have. If you think in order to understand it, in order to relate to it, you have to exactly know what is it made out of. You'll cut it. You'll turn it into an object. Imagine if you want to understand this painting and you focus on the brushes, you focus on the strokes, you focus on the colors. As soon as you see the mark of the stroke of a painter on a painting, you are no longer seeing the painting. Because the painting is a whole thing. It's one thing. You cannot turn a painting into different parts. As soon as you turn it into parts, it means that the way you are looking at it has changed. So this is why you see so many people right now who have beautiful pieces of art, but for them, it's goal-oriented. It's how much it's worth. It's how old it is, how many people like it. It means they're looking at art. They own art. But to them, it's an object. It has a utility. They're attending it to serve a goal. They're not in a relationship with it. Please recite salawat. In this way of relating to the world, you're goal-focused. So it doesn't care if it understands something fully or not. It just has a goal. It wants to quickly get to the goal. So the understanding it has is very limited. As we said, it doesn't care to know the whole thing. Even if it knows parts of the information, that's enough for it. So it lacks so much. It lacks so much wisdom. As we said, you can sit in front of a person and instead of a beautiful soul, just see one body part. Just see a set of features. Oh, this is the person who did that. It reduces things down. It removes so much information from the world. And also, it kills the soul of a person. Imagine, if you look at a person and you see a body part, you've killed their soul. At least for you, that person is an object. For you, that person is dead. There is no soul in front of you. When you attend someone in order to gain something out of them, they become an object for your satisfaction. So do they have a soul? No. So in this way of attending the world, we take the souls of things away from them. We kill them. We turn them into an object. And we want to just grasp everything. We want to understand everything, even things which are so complicated. Hala, we were talking about a person. We can do the same thing to God. Imagine God, a reality that is so large, that is beyond the comprehension of our mind. We can have the two types of relationship with God as well. Either we encounter God in a fresh way, we are in an experience of a real encounter with God, we feel God, or we just turn God into a set of features. Yes, God is just, God is Hakim, God is this, God is that. As soon as you do this, God becomes absent. You no longer encounter God. You no longer experience God. You've turned God into a soulless thing. And then you're like, why is He not changing my life? Why can't I feel Him? They can do the same thing to your parents. Your parent could either be a few lines or it could be someone that you relate to. Imagine those of us who love our parents, who are they to us? They are the moments of relationship that we had with each other. Dad is not the one who was born in that day with that degree, with that job. No, Dad is the one I had relationship with. Mom is the one who that day I was sad and she listened to me. This is the way we relate to people and we see beauty, we see richness. In the other way, no, people are reduced to small facts. There is no richness. There is no flow. It's very solid. It's very rigid. The world becomes a place to exploit. The world doesn't have soul. God turns into certain words. Your partner becomes a set of objects. And even with ourselves, there is two ways of relating. We can either see ourselves for the whole being that we are, for the beautiful soul that we are, or see ourselves as a combination of features. If I look at the mirror and instead of seeing one whole person, I see, oh my God, look at my nose. Why is my hair like that? Why is my height like that? It means you've even turned yourself into an object. And it's no wonder that you don't feel your worth, because you are no longer in an experience with yourself. You look at yourself, but you don't see yourself. In the same way that you can look at partner, but not see them. You could have a friend, but only see them as something you need, as an object. In the same way that we can objectify others, we can objectify world, we can objectify God, and we can objectify ourselves. One of the things love does is that it brings us back. It brings us back to experiencing something. Real way, not just knowing it. You know, it's very interesting. Even these two modes of being have two different words. This one, they say it apprehends. This one comprehends. Apprehends means to grasp something. You want to study something. You want it to be under your control. But this one comprehends. It says, I can never fully understand you. I can never bring you into a lab and observe all of you. No, comprehend. I want to come together and understand you in a relationship. So you can do the same thing with yourself. If you look at yourself and to reduce yourself to a set of features, then you can never know your worth. Because nothing here explains my worth. If I reduce myself to a set of body parts, why should this hand be worthy? There are much stronger hands. Why should this face be worthy? There are nicer faces. And so you really struggle to explain your self-worth because you don't even know who you are. Another problem this way of attending to the world has is that it rushes. It wants to explain everything so quickly. How can you explain love? How can you explain what your child means to you? How can you explain what your mom means to you? It's such a rich relationship. If you put it into words, it can never do justice to it. But when you attend the world in this way, it will only accept things that you can explain. It wants to think its way through finding its self-worth. As long as you want to convince yourself using your thoughts that I'm worthy, you will never get to the place. Because your worth is way bigger than words. It's this way of attending the world that puts this pressure on you to only accept things that you can explain. But it is in a relationship that sometimes you understand the worth of things. Let me give you an example. Do you know how many people there are who have an issue that they cannot accept that their partners love them? As a counselor, you work with so many people like that. You see, the wife really loves her husband. The husband really loves his wife, but the partner cannot accept it. They're even showing love, but this love doesn't translate into a sense for this person that I am worthy. Why? Because the way they are attending to themselves is through this mode of being. They just want to accept things which can be articulated, which can be explained through words. So they try to rationalize their way into accepting that they're worthy. His wife is right in front of him, showing love to him, tells him you're attractive, tells him I love you. His children tells him, Daddy, we love you. But he can't accept it. Why? Because he's not in a relationship with them. So that much love, that much appreciation doesn't come towards him. He will only accept it if he can rationalize his way into his self-worth. And that is an impossible task. All he needs to do is stop being in the world in this way. Let go of the attempt to convince yourself through your mind, be in a relationship with your wife, be in a relationship with your children, attend to them in a real way. Their love will come through. You will feel their love for you. You will feel worthy. You cannot think your way into this. Our capacity to rationally explain things is very limited. I remember we were doing, please recite salawat by the way. So much tension I've created by the way. Let me lighten the mood a little bit. We were doing an exercise in one of the courses we were doing. Some of you who've done this course may be familiar with this. Please pay attention. This will help so much of your problems you have in life. This is a key point. The task in that activity we had was help someone get up, explain only using words how a person can get up from their chair. But don't tell them get up, don't tell them rise. No, you have to explain the process. Please pay attention, this is so important. I want to show you how we cannot think our way into so many things. Even something as simple as getting up. I don't try in your mind, you want to help me get up, but you can't tell me get up, you can't tell me rise, you can't tell me any of that. You have to explain the process to me. Do you know how difficult that is? You have to say, okay, you've got certain muscles. Contract this one and all contract it. No. While you're contracting this muscle, make sure you do something to that muscle. Okay, I'm going that way. No. You have to do this thing to that muscle, to this muscle, to that muscle, and at the same time do this and then move forward. And then no. Make sure you keep your balance. Try it at home with your partner. It's impossible to even help someone, articulate for someone how to get up. But they already know. They've lived it so many times. In the same way, it's very difficult to explain the meaning of life to a mother. We don't have enough words. But all you need to do is when she's holding her child, she feels it inside. Your worth is not possible to explain with words. Because you're not a small thing. Your soul is so large. You can't turn yourself into an object, into a set of features, and then through words explain yourself that you're worth. That is an impossible task. And that is what this culture is doing to people. Turns them into an object, and then it asks them through their mind to rationalize their way out of it. And then they're like, okay, if I'm a set of objects, well, I'm my hair, I'm my height, I'm my body shapes, I'm my knowledge. And it looks at other, more knowledge there, higher people, taller people, better curves. And it would be impossible for it to find its worth. And no amount of thinking can help them. Tell them 1,000,000 times, oh, no, Daddy loves you. They're not able to feel that love because they're not in a real relationship. There are two ways of being in the world. We have this problem. We cannot feel God. We cannot feel our partners. As soon as you get bored from your partner, it means your mode of attending to them has changed. As soon as you don't feel worthy, it means the mode of attending yourself has changed. As soon as you go into the park, you go into the world and it looks boring, it means the mode of attending to the world has changed. You are no longer seeing a park. You are no longer seeing the city. You're just seeing what you have in your mind. خب. We turn the world into an object, we turn ourselves into an object, we turn our partners into an object. And no wonder life becomes difficult. We don't feel worthy, we don't love our partners the way we used to do, and we don't like the world because the world is a boring place. And we can't find God because if you cut the world from its source, you cannot find God. In the same way that if you cut your body from its source, from its soul, you cannot find your worth. Hala, this is the question I want to ask you. How can you go from this way of attending to this way? Please pay attention to this. We're going to be talking about the answer tomorrow. But I want to ask you this question. How can you go back to the way you were with your partner the day you fell in love with them? The days that you didn't see what's wrong with them. The days that you wouldn't see an eye, an eyebrow. The days that you saw a whole person. The days that no matter what they did was cute. How can you go back to that? How can you go from this way of attending to the world to the other way? How can you explain to yourself your worth not through words, but feel it? How can you feel loved inside? What is the way? How can you go to a park and enjoy it like you used to be able to enjoy it when you were a child? Right now, the park is no longer a reality outside. When you go to the park, when you take your child to the park is an object to you. The park is a place you take your child so that your child doesn't nag or your child becomes happy. The world has turned into an object. We cannot experience the soul of the world. We cannot experience our own soul. We don't feel our own worth. How can you shift from this to this? This is a very key discussion that inshallah we'll talk about tomorrow. And I'll tell you that was the whole function of religion. I'm not saying it has achieved it, but we will speak about how to get there. Please recite the salawat. We're about to end. Just a few minutes. We can do the same thing as I said with God as well. Alon, I can talk to you about God, give you a set of His features. God is loving, God is like this, God is like that. What have I done? I've turned God into objects. I've turned God into a set of features. And as soon as I do that, I've killed God. Let's try something else. Right now, instead of trying to understand God, try to grasp God, which God is way bigger than our understanding. Let's relate to God. For a few moments, wherever you're sat, I don't ask you to explain anything. I don't want you to understand anything about God. Send your heart to God. Relate to God. God is right now here. Right now, as you're sitting here, close your beautiful eyes even if you want. God is all around you. God's love is not in your mind. You're surrounded by God's love right now. If you feel it, Alhamdulillah. If not, what is the solution? What are the tools we have to get there? We'll discuss that tomorrow. Please recite salawat.